us a walkthrough, anything about which players, like Edwards and others, that might have a chance this week?
Mike has a chance. Everybody else, we'll see if they run tomorrow.
Todd, you talk about defensive chess pieces and versatile guys you can move around. I want to ask you about Cansey and how you used him on Sunday. People get excited when you're dropping outside linebackers in coverage, and you're dropping defensive linemen in coverage. Just how willing he is to play anywhere on that line and even drop back sometimes.
Oh, he's more than willing. He's so athletic that he drops as good, if not better, than some of our linebackers. So obviously we don't want him to make a living on that. We want him to rush the passer, but there are a few instances and circumstances when we know they're keen on him that we can get him out of there and get somebody else free.
When you look at the guys on offense in their third year, guys like Cade, Rashad, Luke, this is their third year in the league, and they're all ascending players. They're all impacting the game in certain ways, and this is their third system that they've been in too. Can you just talk about not only their growth and their ability to kind of conform to different systems and schemes, but also the coaching staff and how you develop these players into being every day, every play, every guy contributors.
Those guys are doing a very good job adapting. 3 coordinators in 3 years is a lot for anybody, but those guys are good football players and they're smart football players. And the coaches we bring in, we try to bring in teachers and intelligent coaches that work nonstop. We understand that injuries are going to happen, but that shouldn't stop us from trying to do what we got to do to win the ball game, because there are no excuses in this league. So we work diligently and hard, but they're very intelligent ball players, and it makes it easy to coach them.
Todd, the guys didn't lose any belief at 4 and 6 that you guys could get this turned around and make a run into the playoffs. But a win over a team like the Chargers, what does that do for the confidence in increasing that in these stretch games?
It was big because we put together a good second half. Not so much as just beating the Chargers, that we finished the game offensively and ran it out. We finished the game defensively and got a turnover, and that shows some growth from the first half of the season. So that part gives us confidence going forward that we can play with anybody as long as we don't make the mistakes.
And how important is it to have a running game in December going into the playoffs?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Everybody's beat up this time of year. If you can grind it out and get some runs in there and kind of wear people down, it helps out a lot.
How do you keep the guys hungry, that each one game mentality? Because now nationally, McAfee show, these guys can beat anybody. You're starting to get the recognition out of here. How do you keep them hungry?
We didn't listen when we were losing. We're not listening now that we're winning, so that's not going to be a big deal. And we have enough sarcastic coaches and sarcastic players to insult people to keep everybody grounded so that we're all ready to work. So that's not a problem at all. We get shots in all the time.
Todd, in this last game, you deployed a little bit of a 6-1 front. Just during that bye week and then moving forward, how important was it for you to be as creative as possible with the personnel, considering all the injuries you've had and where you've had to shape shift a little bit, considering how much your unit has changed throughout the season?
I mean, it was huge for us. The first thing we look at during the bye week is, are we doing our jobs, putting them in the right position, and how can we get better and make them better going from there? Then we just try to get them to do fundamentals and technique, and we kind of put it together week by week, depending on who's hurt and who's not. At this point, who knows? We kind of come up with things that try to stop. It was a 6-1, but like I said, they had a 290-pound tight end, and they had another 290-pound fullback, so they were in goal line, so we were kind of in goal line.
Todd, it's rare to put up the kind of yards and points that you guys have this year, especially with all the injuries. What would you say are a couple of things, that Liam does the best in terms of getting the most out of what he's got on the field every week?
It's really attention to detail. I think it all starts with the run game. How can we run it off of this? How can we throw it off of this? What did we do last week? And what did we see? What do they see? And kind of putting it together that way. So the coaches collaborating upstairs and giving it to the players and feeding it downstairs, and Baker executing it all on the field. The camaraderie and the coordination with those guys and the chemistry of seeing it the same way has been very good.
This is the time of year where there's always speculation. There are some jobs that are already, are going to be open, head coaching jobs, and everybody's looking for the hot candidate. Last year, Dave Canales became that and got a job in Carolina. How's a guy like Liam, who's young and just in this building right now for the first year, how does he handle that? How does any coach handle that sort of, speculation out there?
Well, you don't worry about it, you don't worry about it. You try to do your job, get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, and everything else comes after that.
Any updates on Cam Johnson, how he's progressing?
He's coming along good. We just kind of try to find a spot for him to play.
Todd, I think today's the deadline for Marquise Watts in terms of exercising his option to return from IR. Do you know if you plan to do that, or if he'll just go to IR?
I don't think we have enough room right now. We might have to put him on IR.
Baker was named NFC Player of the Week. Seems like he does that when he goes to SoFi every 2 years or so. But what was it that you went from turning the ball over quite a bit? I know he had the one turnover, ball's a little behind Mike, to having that kind of game that he did against the Chargers. What did he do to correct?
Just focus and locked in. As a group, we locked in, try to do the things that he does well, and he locked in and just read the defense and took what they gave him.
As far as, the Bucs are starting to get more national recognition. Mike Evans is Tom Brady's 3-star, Bucky's Peter Schrager's, top rookie, he's Liam Cohen's top coach of the week. Baker's getting the NFC offense. So how do you celebrate those accomplishments without kind of letting them deter what your ultimate goal is?
We bring Baker winning NFC Player of the Week up after practice, we clap, we move on.
That's all you got.
That's all you get. That's all you get. No cakes or anything like that. You move on. It's like, oh, that was nice. Move on.
Todd, we've talked a lot about defensive sub packages and special looks. You guys have used that 4 defensive line, 6-man front, kind of in goal line situations, but Sunday you used it at midfield, 1st and 10 type plays. What do you like about that, and what's the key to? I think Ryan Neal kind of subbed in almost as like a hybrid linebacker there. But what do you like about that package?
It kind of takes away cutback lanes, so to speak, inside. They were an inside running team, so you pack more people inside, less chance they have a running inside. And Ryan is a very good box player. He's a very good scrape guy when he was here. So that was right up his alley. It's something he could do, and we just tried to maximize what we could do.
Todd, do you feel like, post-bye, and certainly the last few weeks, that the style of offense you've been able to wear on teams, and that in those second halves, you've been getting stronger as the game has gone on, despite what has kind of happened in the first half?
It's been a combination of things. I think it helps to get off the field defensively and give us many more chances on offense. And as we go, we try to take what they give us. This is the run, it's the run. If it's the pass, it's the pass. But we kind of figured out who we are, and they're executing, and everybody kind of fit into their roles now. And there's not enough people that's just running around, looking around, trying to see what to do. Everybody's just doing their job.
You guys are going to face a Cowboys team without Dak Prescott, who can rush there, but he's thrown 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. When you look at that offense and what he can do specifically, what are some things that stand out to you?
I mean, they do a great job running the ball and different type of runs as well. And they got an all-star player in CD Lamb, and their running back is playing great football. He can break a lot of tackles right now. And Cooper's putting it in the right place. He's very smart. He can see the game well, and it's going to be a tough game.
Do you have a historical comp for Michael Parsons of what he reminds you of maybe someone in the past?
Probably he's a pain in the ass. That's what he is. And I mean that in the most sincere compliment. He gives you a lot of problems, and that's what he reminds me of.
Speaking of the rushing game, you guys would have struggled last year to run for 235 yards on the ground in 3 games. You've done it for 3 games straight. What is the biggest thing you attribute turnaround? Is the backs? Is it the scheme? Is it the blockers up front? Is it a combination? What's the biggest thing around the turnaround for this run game this off?
It's all the above. I mean, it's all the above. Obviously, we got a new scheme. We got new coaches. The running backs are taught differently how to get downhill. The line is playing with more chemistry. The receivers are blocking downfield. We had it before. We just couldn't execute it properly. Right now, we're executing it properly, and they're playing good football.
Kind of going off that, Bucky Irving has been a frequent on the injury report, missing a decent amount of practice, but still has been so successful week in and out. What are you observing throughout the week that he's doing that maybe outside of practice can contribute to this success?
He's taking care of his body, and he watches a lot of film. He's a film junkie. He gets in early, and he watches a lot of tape, so he's taking mental reps even if he isn't practicing, so that helps out, especially for a young guy.
Any
Next question.
update on Jordan Whitehead, if he's progressing to maybe come back after next week?
I could not tell you if he's coming back next week, but he is progressing.